Today we have this begonia that has pretty much lived out its existence for the year. The tubers got big and fell over. I should say the stems. I'm sorry, the stems got big and fell over and came away. You can see they just kind of fall off. And it's time to take this into the greenhouse and get it ready for overwintering. So I will cut this back a little bit just so it's easier to transport. And we will take it into the greenhouse. And go from there. All right. Okay. We got our bench all set up here, ready to go. So what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna dig around and find the tuber, the edge of the tuber. You can see how large it is. It's about 3 inches across, the tuber. It's been a few years since I've had this, probably about 3 or 4. And we're gonna let these stems gradually fall off on their own from here. I just pruned them so they wouldn't break off. You can see where they broke off here and here, and it didn't harm it, but we're just gonna dig a little bit around here and expose this rooted area of the tuber itself. All right, well, we've got our tuber here. I wanted to show you this. This isn't a very good stem. I brought in some stems that I had just cut off. And this particular begonia, here's a good example. No, that's not. Here's a good example right here. See how I have one flower here and one on the back side? This one typically will be a little smaller. Here's another example right here. Here is a flower and one on the back side. If you want bigger blooms on the main flower, you want to pinch this one off. Get rid of this little secondary flower on the back side of the main flower. Here's another one right here. You can see it's got this nice flower here, but right underneath it is this little nothing. You want to pinch that off while it's growing, and you'll get bigger blossoms. The secondary flowers are always typically kind of wimpy, kind of small. Here's a secondary flower. It looks nice. I don't mind them. I just leave them myself. I don't go through and prune them all down, but I think that they look just fine. Here's another one right here, a good example. It hasn't really come out yet, but there's a secondary one right underneath it. And if you just pinch that little guy off, this one will bloom a little bit bigger. So that's how you take care or maintain your begonias. But today we're talking about getting ready to winter these over. So I'm just going to dig around. Oh, drop that. These are my ranunculus for next spring. Ranunculus, if you don't know, this is what they look like. They're just like little dried corms. And in the fall, we start waking them up a little bit for the spring. Not yet. We are in late September, third week of September, so we're getting in the mode to start overwintering stuff. This begonia was just looking a little tattered, so I chose to take it. It still had blossoms on it, but it just wasn't looking its best. And it's probably going to start getting very cold at night, and it'll just start looking really bad and tattered in the next few days, so might as well take it early. So all I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to expose this root ball a little bit and let it dry out. And then I will place it in this shallow tray of just some peat moss, dried out potting soil, and let it air dry for a few days until these start to dry out and drop off. See if I can pull this up. There we go. I found out the hard way. Begonias don't like it too wet. They like shade, but they don't want to be soggy. So you can see how dry this potting soil is that it was sitting in. And it was doing great, I typically water it like once a week. So we're gonna let this sit and dry out a little bit. There's still quite a bit of moisture down in here. It's just slightly damp. It's not soggy at all. It's just very slightly damp. But we'll let this air dry and get these roots, and we will come back to it. We're just gonna leave it right there in that peat moss for a few days. All right. All right, it has been a few weeks now. We are at the end of the first week of October. You can see our begonia, the pieces of stem have fallen off and started to die back a little bit. These will get hard over the winter. Bottom is all, the dirt's all been removed. Roots are just kind of hanging on there. That's fine. And what we're going to do is we're going to place it in these little mesh bags. I got these on Amazon. I'll put a link in there for you. But I like to put in some sawdust. This is just sawdust shavings. Get it from my shop. Comes right out of the shop. This is hardwood shavings. It's just from trees like maple or oak, walnut. Anything that's a deciduous tree would be a hardwood tree. They just go in these mesh bags. These mesh bags are perforated so the air can go back and forth through it. Just keeps it really dry over the winter. And I just pack it in there. And it will go over here. Just follow me around a little bit. Goes over here on one of these shelves. So I will make another area specifically for begonias, tulips, although tulips are going in the ground now. Anything that I want to winter over that needs to be dry, I put sawdust with it. Dahlias, dahlia tubers, that kind of thing. All right, I hope that helps. You guys have a great day.